All right, buckle up. If you're craving straight talk with zero fluff, you just found your people. Welcome to Breakthrough with Mallory and Julie, the podcast where we lovingly call you out, hype you up, and push you past the excuses that have been keeping you stuck. This is real world, no BS, get it together growth. The kind that stops the overthinking, ends the whining, and gets you taking action because your best self isn't built in the comfort zone.
You're hanging out with Mallory Herron of Herron HR and Julie Burch of Julie Burch Speaks. Personal development pros with the street cred, strategy, and a little bit of sass to help you raise the bar and actually clear it. So if you're ready to make bold moves, chase big goals, and break through the mindset junk that's holding you back, let's go.
Hi, friends. I'm Mallory Herron. I have spent my career helping people and organizations break through the barriers that they put for themselves or that just happen to be there. I have lived through a lot of, frankly, bullshit, and I want to help others get through the bullshit too.
Hey, everyone. Julie Burch here, and I agree with Mallory. I have been doing this for a really long time, and I am all about overcoming obstacles, growing personally and professionally, and just making a bigger impact on those around me. So I'm here to help you do the same. And it starts with what I call my war on abdication, self-abdication. And I'm going to say that over and over because I believe we give away power. And this is where we're going to start to teach you how to break through and take it back. We have to realize that your life is your choice and it's time to choose bigger and better. So let's get it on.
Absolutely. I love that. You know, in our last episode, we talked about courage in the face of fear and just doing the things while you're afraid. Just push past it and get it started. But today we want to talk about resilience. How do you keep it going even when you have failures, even when you have setbacks, when it's harder than you ever thought it would be?
That's when it gets really difficult, right? It's one thing to start. It's one thing to step up and face your fear and lean in and do it. But once you start, how do you stick with it? And quite frankly, that's where most people fail. Resilience shows up in kind of a few very predictable pressure points of life, if you will, different areas of our lives. Most people really don't lack resilience everywhere. They tend to lack it in specific areas where they get poked, they get tired, they get discouraged, the monkey wrench is thrown in the works, the day goes to hell in a handbasket and you get frustrated and we stop. That's where we quit. And so there are some common areas, common struggles that we tend to see. So we've kind of pulled this together. We've come up with 9 that we can share with you that maybe you will see yourself in some of these as well. And just on the chance that you do and you'd like to dig a little bit deeper in this, you're going to find attached to the show notes a self-assessment worksheet where you can actually download that, go in, and you can do your own self-assessment so you can identify where you are in some of these areas. So are you ready, Mallory? Let's talk about it.
Yes, let's jump in.
All right. Number 1, emotional resilience. So this would look like managing disappointment, rejection, or failure, regulating emotions instead of reacting. This is where people quit too early and oftentimes just burn bridges.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? That one's so important. I struggle with when people are just reactionary and they'll say, you made me XYZ thing behavior. No, I didn't make you do shit.
That's right.
You choose how you react. Maybe you're not really thinking about it in the moment, but you're in control of yourself and you're responsible for your emotions and basically being a grown-up. So unless you're a toddler, get it together.
It's exactly right. You are always responsible for your emotions. You can have any emotion. My mom has always told me there's no such thing as a wrong emotion, but how you communicate that emotion, how you behave in that emotion, you always choose. And I'm not the only one. I'm sure some of our listeners where we have not always practiced that. We've had those moments. I am embarrassed to say I I told off a boss and stormed out of a job in my past. It's happened. I'm not proud of that moment, but it was a teaching moment for me. I had to learn that when I react, I'm not getting the best results. So it's regulation. So that emotional resilience, that's a big area. When we don't control our emotions, it's hard to control anything else. The second area is mental resilience. So that could look like your ability to push through self-doubt or that negative self-talk. I would be willing to bet a lot of people can relate to that. One for me that kind of relates to this that I think of is staying focused when things feel overwhelming. That's when a lot of people just shut down. That's when we start doom scrolling on our phone.
That's fun.
It's kind of a procrastination technique. Making decisions under pressure. Can you do that? Are you able to make decisions, or do you become like analysis paralysis and you can't make a decision? Avoiding the I'll start when I feel ready trap. And this really is the battleground of excuses versus growth.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think about that?
I 100% agree. Being a small business owner and having a very small team, at the end of the day, if the work is going to get done, I'm responsible for it. So it does not matter if I'm sick that day and not feeling up to it. I've just, had some other challenge like elsewhere. Maybe my husband and I are fighting and I just don't, because we work together, I just don't want to deal with him.
Right.
Whatever it is, I'm responsible for that. That's my name and reputation on the line. That's my
right.
client waiting for me to do that deliverable. I can't have excuses.
That's right.
Just have to push through and do the thing, even if I don't want to.
Right.
And honestly, that helps me to get through anything, because I'm like, well, I know how to push through. I know how to be determined.
That's right. I always think of it as a little bit of compartmentalizing, right?
Yes.
So, and I actually talk about this in some of my keynotes and my training events, and where we've all worked with that person at some point in our career that likes to say that, oh, I'm just so upset. I'm just so upset. Like no self-regulation. I need to take the rest of the day off. I just can't deal with it. I'm just too upset. And I'm always thinking, what? It does not matter what kind of morning I have had.
Yeah.
I could have had the world's worst morning. I could have gotten up late. I could have stubbed my toe on the way to the bathroom. I could have gotten in a fight with my husband. I could have gotten a flat tire on my way to my event. But I still have to stand up there when they introduce me and do my shtick. I mean, could you imagine if I was doing a keynote at 9:00 and Julie Burch, and I walked on stage and I just looked at everybody and was like, I'm just not feeling it. I've had a really bad morning. I'm here to talk about this. Y'all just talk amongst yourselves. I'll be over here. Like, it does not matter what kind of morning I've had. I still have to do my shtick.
Yeah. Talk about ruining your career if you do that.
Exactly. But people don't always, again, I say war on self-abdication. I think that we give away the power, right? If have something bad happens, that doesn't mean all is lost. And I think we have to find that balance. So I think that's a big one. All right. Are we ready for number 3?
Yes.
Stress and burnout resilience. Things that we could think of that would go with that. Sustaining energy over long periods, setting boundaries without guilt, recovering from exhaustion instead of just powering through, knowing when to rest versus when to push. And many people aren't weak, they're just fried. And I think sometimes we have to navigate the fried. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I've been really bad at this in the past. So because I am a workaholic, I love what I do and I do it over 8 hours a day. I've had to figure out, I'm also a people pleaser. Recovering people pleaser. So I've had to figure out how I can set boundaries and why it's important, because for a long time I've always been, I do what I'm committed to, but I had to change my mindset to stop planning so much in one day so it's manageable, so that I'm not having to use as much of my mental toughness to get through it and exhausting my body. So setting boundaries with, yes, I can do that and I will, but I'm not doing that thing today or this week. And then, oh man, do you ever feel guilty for resting?
Yes, absolutely. Every time. Sit on the couch and your body's telling you need to take a break, but then you feel bad because you think about all the things you should be doing.
Mm-hmm. I had to train myself to view it in a different way. So it's still a form of productivity, because if I'm still just like going to the point of burnout, if I'm not resting, not only is my body breaking down and I'm going to get sick, and then it's going to take me longer to recover.
Right.
So then it's taken me out of the game. But also, I'm just not as sharp if I'm not having that kind of turned off for a little while. If I don't do that, I'm not nearly as effective.
That's
I'm
true.
not firing on all cylinders.
Sharpen the saw, right? You've got to refresh. You got to sharpen your saw. I've told the story about my sister for years. My sister is amazing. She's the smartest person I know. She's brilliant. She owns a multi-million-dollar law firm. I mean, she's phenomenal. And I remember she's my baby sister, so she's like my own child. And I remember when she was in law school, and she's the most driven person I've ever known. She knew she wanted to be an attorney from the time she was like in third grade, and she was committed to it. I was already out of the house when she was in high school, and I would come over on Saturday night and she'd be studying. And I'm thinking, what are you doing studying on Saturday, girl? It's time to go out, party. Because that's what I would have done. And she said, no, I have to get good grades. I've got to get into law school. So she knew from a very early age. And I remember when she was in law school, she called me one night. She went to law school up in Washington, D.C. And she called me and I said, what are you doing? And she said, oh, I'm being lazy. I'm supposed to be reading, but I'm being lazy. And she was beating herself up. Mm. And I said, you need to knock that off. I said, maybe it's your brain is telling you that you need to take a break. Because if you don't, you're going to continue. Okay, you're reading, but you're going to read the same paragraph 82 times.
Yes.
And you're not going to recall what you read anyway. So take 15 minutes, take 30 minutes, refresh. You're not being lazy, you're rejuvenating. And I think we have to allow for that, right? I mean, it doesn't mean you get to be lazy or not rejuvenate forever, but giving ourselves our bodies a chance, I think, to recover is important.
Yeah, if you want to be resilient and you want to keep pushing through and keep going, your mind and your body have to be able to support that. And that does mean you have to do things intentionally for it to happen.
There's a lot of prioritizing that I think we have to do. And I think people really struggle with that. Every time I teach keynotes or training workshops on prioritizing, people really have got this weird thing where everything's a priority. Everything is urgent. Everything is now. Everything is instant. And when everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So we do have to really, it's like that, come to Jesus. You got to look at stuff and really identify what is serving you, what is helping you move in the direction of your goal, and what is not. What are the things you do just because you've always done them, or just because somebody told you that it would be a good idea, but you've never really reevaluated it. You know, we do things for the wrong reasons, and we have to be better about making different decisions. And so I think boundaries in a lot of ways starts with understanding our true priorities.
Absolutely.
That, to me, that's a big one. All right. Number 4, change and uncertainty resilience. So with change and uncertainty resilience, probably a lot of people can relate to that, just because you mentioned this even in our last episode, talking about the idea of change as a constant. Change isn't going anywhere. So adapting when plans fall apart, that's a huge part of resilience, right? When it doesn't go the way you wanted it to go, can you stay the course? That's a big one. Handling the transitions. So job changes, leadership shifts, life pivots. When things happen, can we handle those transitions? Letting go of what was to make room for what's next.
Ooh.
That's a big one to me.
Oh, yeah. I love that, though. And I think that's a lot of perspective, too. So when I've had, before being married to my husband now, terrible boyfriends. But if we'd been together for a while, the thought of like, I'm not happy. I'm never going to be happy. I'm not getting what I want. So I need to move on. Right. It's ending something so significant. It's like when you change a job.
Right.
But if you only focus on the negative, you might not even make that transition. If you instead focus on there is a new world of possibilities open to me now, if I do make this change. Thinking of it in that way helps.
That's a great way to reframe it. I use the saying a lot: when the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same, you'll change. When the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same, you'll change. And we're not really talking physical pain, we're more mental, emotional pain, but that's what happens is it's comfortable. you're not happy. You're meh. You're not happy, but it's a known pain. And change is scary. And so we've all known people in relationships, and I kind of joke about it, but it's true, where all of your friends, everybody around you is like, dude, he's got to go.
Right. Get rid of that
Kick
one.
him to the curb. But we're like, but, then I won't have a date for the national holidays. And so we stay stuck. People stay in jobs and in relationships and places they're not really happy because it's a known unhappy. And change can feel very scary. And so we stay stuck. But like you said, it's reframing it. And I think that's a really good way of thinking about it, is it's not the loss of what was, it's the possibility of what is.
Yeah, and the devil is still the devil.
That's exactly right. I don't know why we forget that. Right? If you're not happy, if it's met, then why are we so committed to it? But we all have a tipping point. I really do think we have a tipping point where eventually that pain of change becomes less, and we will eventually feel like we have to take action. We have to move in a different direction. But it's amazing. So to me, the idea of letting go of what was to make room for what's next. I think that actually plays out. I know for me, it plays out just in business, because I've been doing this for a long time. I've been speaking professionally for 28 years. Well, over those years, my focus has had to evolve, but I tend to find I get stuck hanging on to what is comfortable. A huge percentage of my clients are repeat clients, a huge percentage. I've been doing training for the same companies for years, and they are such a blessing. They're such a gift. I'm so grateful for every one of them. I also know that for me to move up to the next level in my speaking career, I'm going to have to let go of some of those. I'm going to have to move forward from that. And that's a hard thing to do. Making room for what is going to be is going to require me to let go of some of the things that are. And it's making those choices to continue.
Well, first of all, I want to say it's remarkable that you started your speaking career at the age of 0.
Yes, exactly. I know. I was really talented as a child.
I think thinking of it like from a business perspective, opportunity cost.
Right.
I think of it like this. If I'm taking on a new client, I'm accepting a speaking engagement on a particular date. That means I can't accept another one for the same date.
Exactly.
And like what you're saying, if you want to make room for the new stuff for the next level, you're going to have to not lock it in.
Right.
Does that make sense? I don't think I'm articulating.
No, I think you're making perfect sense. We have to let go of what is. We have to be okay with that. And that's a risk. It's scary to say no because something better, is waiting for you. But we hold on to what is comfortable. We hold on to the easy. And when we hold on too much to the easy, then we are not open. I've had to more than one time turn down a lucrative and amazing speaking opportunity because I was booked to do something that was just something that I've always kind of done. And that reality is tough because once you commit, you're stuck. You got to do it. And I would never want to let any of my clients down, so I would never do that. But there's something to that, is our understanding. And that goes back to prioritizing. It's like, does this serve me and my business and my goals and my objectives today? It might have 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but is it still serving me today? And making those decisions is hard.
Oh, it takes so much intentionality. Is that even a word?
It is.
Just good.
And it's a good one. I like it. It's true.
But yeah, thinking about it in advance and really your goals and your values and what you want out of life guide your decision making. That's right. So important. And I don't think a lot of us, I know I'm guilty of it. It's not necessarily something I think about outside of resolutions for the new year.
Right. That's true for most people. Absolutely. And the thing is, that's where we're talking about this in the context of resilience. And when we struggle with those things, when those things aren't crystal clear for us, then it becomes harder to be resilient because we're not committed to the end game. I actually use, I always, and you've heard this before, the idea of know your why. Right? Mm-hmm. Know your why. When your why is clear, then the decisions that you make every day become easier. There's a great line in that movie 12 Strong where the general, whoever, is sending his team out to battle. And what he says to him is that the most important thing a man can take into battle is a reason why. And that really struck me because I think that's really powerful. And we can look at examples in our lives when we might have thought this would be something I should do, but until we really understand why we're doing it, it's hard. And so I kind of tell myself, I used to be a smoker. I smoked for many, many years. And no hate or shame to smokers, because been there. And I was a defiant smoker. Like, I was a mean smoker. I was the one that if you tried to say anything about me smoking, I would blow the smoke in your face. I mean, people wanted to tell me all the time, you shouldn't smoke. That's not good for you. That's not good for you. You shouldn't do that. I'd be like, nah, I don't care. Yeah, I was defiant, right? People will tell you that'll kill you. I'd be like, I don't care. I'm going to die anyway. I had one person tell me that every cigarette you smoke takes 7 minutes, so the last 7 minutes off your life. And I was like, well, I don't have anything planned for those last 7 minutes anyway, so screw you. I was defiant about it. And then my dad got sick. And my dad was a smoker, and he smoked 2-3 packs a day for as long as I can remember. And he got COPD, emphysema. He got really sick. Had to have the oxygen. He had the big giant oxygen machine in his house, and like with that mile-long cord, so that he could, see. He could walk around the house and have his oxygen. And I watched my dad get sicker and sicker and sicker, and he couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. He couldn't walk across the living room without getting winded. He couldn't fly to Texas to come visit me. And I remember watching my dad struggle. And what I realized in that moment was that I wasn't afraid that cigarettes were going to kill me. I was afraid they wouldn't. And I would have to live like that. And when that realization hit me, I have not smoked a cigarette since. Wow. I literally threw away the rest of my pack, smoked my last cigarette, and I never went back to it. I didn't stop and start. I stopped, and it was because my reason was very clear in that moment. And I think sometimes that's what it takes for people that's my why, that's my story. Everybody has their own, but it's finding what that is for you. Why do you jump out of bed in the morning? Why are you taking that action? Why do you want to up level? Why do you want to grow your skills? Why do you want to get better? Why do you want to break through? You're listening to this for a reason. Yeah. Something struck you, something told you that there's something here for you. Why? And if you can find that why, then you can start to find those steps. The actions become easier when the why is clear, I think.
Why is so powerful and so important.
It matters.
I know for me, earlier in my career, when my kids were babies, just literal babies, I had gotten laid off, and that was scary because I'm a single mom. I'm the sole provider. And my why at that point, I made finding a new job my full-time job. And then I also bartended at night. So my why was I have to take care of my babies. Not only just meet their basic needs, but from there, moving on, the reason why I wanted to grow in my career, why I wanted to get further, was to make more money, so that I could provide a better life for my kids. So I could put them through college if they want to go to college, so that they don't have to go without, because I know what that was like when I was a kid. Right. But I think it's important to note too, your why doesn't always have to be noble or even altruistic, right?
1,000%.
If
yes.
your why is, I want to grow in my career to get more money because I want to buy Louis Vuitton, that's fine. I do too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000%. I want to fly first class. That's my thing. I hate coach. So when I fly, I want to work hard enough that I never have to sit in coach. Like, I want to just not even know there's people back there. That's my goal.
Yeah, it's totally valid. And you don't have to tell people your why. As long as you're clear on it, use that to
Absolutely.
Keep moving forward. Let it drive you.
That's right. There's a lot there. And when it drives you, and that's what resilience is all about, right? It's courage to take the action, to dive in, to take on the challenge. But the resilience is what happens. That's what keeps you going when all of the wrenches get thrown at you. And trust me, things are going to get thrown at you. It's never going to go the way we think it's going to, right? There is going to be complete and utter total fuckery that is going to exist in our lives, because things are going to get thrown at us. So our ability to duck and dodge and continue and not give up. And that to me is the key. So I think there's a lot with that. We said we talked about the change and uncertainty resilience. Relationship resilience is number 5. So having hard conversations, handling conflict. This is one where I feel so blessed. So I don't have, for me, this isn't one that resonates as much, but I do think for a lot of people, it absolutely does.
Yeah. So my husband, he is a little fiery. We get into arguments, somewhat regularly, but I really honestly feel like it's more worrisome if we stop fighting about things, because it means we don't care anymore.
Right.
And we love each other.
Talking.
Yeah. If we're just silent now, that's different. That's a much more significant problem.
Right.
And I feel like it's the same in business too. So a lot of my work is in HR. Conflict usually comes because people really care about doing a good job and taking things forward.
That's right.
And so they're going to fight about what's the best way to get there. Also, having those difficult conversations, no one enjoys it.
Absolutely true.
But it's necessary, and it is a kindness. If I am telling somebody, hey, you have spinach in your teeth, I'm being a good friend, right?
Yes, please do that.
People want to know. If I don't care about that person, well, I would still tell them. But, in theory, if I didn't care about that person.
Point at them and laugh, but
yeah,
you'd still probably tell them.
I just wouldn't say anything. And
Right.
It's the same thing with my husband and I and my relationship.
Absolutely.
My relationship with my team. Because I care about you and I want the best for you and I want us all to succeed together, I'm going to have those hard conversations. And I'm going to do it lovingly.
Right.
Maybe a little firm sometimes, but I'm still going
Right.
to do it. It's when I'm not doing that anymore that I
There's a
don't
problem.
care. There's a
That's
problem.
right. I think we need to do an episode where we talk about communication and having difficult conversations, because I do think that that's a big part of it. I think that, and I heard the saying one time and it really resonated with me, is that when you don't speak up in an attempt to keep the peace, what you're really doing is keeping the tension. Mm-hmm. And I thought that's true. So I do think there's a lot. And so whether it's personal relationships or it's business relationships, I do think that that's a big one. Number 6 is failure and setback resilience. So our ability to bounce back after mistakes, learning instead of quitting, separating identity from outcomes. I love this. Resilient people don't fail less, they recover faster. And that's what resilience is all about. I love that.
Yes. Well, and that's even my husband and I fighting. We get past that. We bounce back really fast because we know we're not trying to hurt each other's feelings. And I think it's important too. So I wrote a book, right? That is.
What's the name of the book, Mallory?
Oh, Intentional HR, A Revolution in Strategic Thinking.
And you can find that on
Amazon.
So jump on Amazon and look for Mallory Herron, Intentional HR.
I love that. Thank you for the plug. But I will say, the experience of writing a book is terrible. So I had a publisher and I had editors, right? And I'm so glad I had that. It helped me actually get it done. But when you have to turn in a chapter and then your editor comes back and basically, this is trash. And so you rewrite it and the same thing happens. It's a little bit better garbage, but it's still bad.
It's a little bit better garbage.
It's less stinky. And you have to keep going through
Right.
that. There's this emotional roller coaster you go through where you think you have this great idea. You're going to create this thing that doesn't yet exist. You're going to put it out in the world. Hopefully people like it. But as you're preparing it, you are continually told,
Right.
do this better, do that better. Just start this completely over. Whatever it is.
Right.
You're getting rejected over and over, but it's because your editor and your publisher, they want the best possible deliverable.
Right.
They want a really good book. You have to mentally prepare for that and go through the
Right.
emotions of, I am so bad at writing. Nothing I am saying in this book is worth a damn, because that's how it's going to feel.
Right.
But you keep going.
That's
and it's
resilience.
Yeah. It's being resilient. It sharpens it. And at the end of the day, you have a good book.
There you go. And it is a good book. I think that's exactly right, though. That's the essence of resilience. So I think your example is I mean, I just think it resonates with all of us because we all have our own thing that we're working on, whether it's a book or it's something else where we feel like we need to give up. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not getting the, praise. It's not, I have to redo, I have to step back, one step forward, two steps back. And those are the times that we do feel like we want to quit. And that's when we have to absolutely not quit.
Well, and the quitting is the easy thing.
It is. It's so much easier to quit.
Yeah.
Right? It is so much. This just wasn't for me. I was crazy to think I could do this. This is for other people, not for me. And all that negative self-talk. And that actually takes us, the next one is self-belief and confidence resilience. So standing firm in your values, trusting yourself after a setback. So even when the editor came back and said, no, you need to rewrite this, it's trusting yourself that, okay, but I still know what I want to say here. Mm-hmm. And you're able to continue even after you've set back. Or say setback, comeback, setback, comeback. And then not outsourcing confidence to other people's opinions. And that one is huge.
Whoa.
Right? We are more than what other people think about us. Quite frankly, I try really hard not to care what other people think because I have to be authentic to me and I'm the one that has to live with it. I'm the one that has to lay my head on my pillow at night. And that's what matters. Because it is, for a lot of people, kind of that human nature that we focus on the negative, right? Mm-hmm. We'll get, you do a presentation, a speaking event, and you'll get 100 evaluations, and 99 of them will say, amazing, best thing ever, Mallory's the bomb, or whatever. And then you get that one that says, she talked a little too fast. She needed lipstick after lunch, which are both actual, comments I've gotten on evaluations. So those are the ones that we tend to hold on to. And we have to challenge ourselves to get confidence, not from what other people say, but from our own feeling of, look what I did. Yeah. And every time you had to go back and do it again, you're building confidence. So I think there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, and I think for me anyway, I try to keep in mind the perspective of, I have been successful at this thing at one point. Therefore, I can still keep going. I can be successful at other things. So going through even just really terrible situations with abuse, surviving that, navigating that, if I could have done that, and I did, and I'm successful now, I could do anything. Bring it on.
That's right.
I'm going to push through it, and I'm going to have the best possible outcome. I'm going to be an active participant in it, even when it's hard, even when I don't want to keep going.
Right.
Because and look, for everybody listening, you've survived everything so far. Here you are.
Isn't that amazing when you think about that? Everything that you've been through. You got through it. We forget. It didn't break you. It didn't, you didn't fail. You failed up. You navigated it. You did it. And so we should all remember that. That's a reminder for everyone. So I think that's a really powerful thing that we want to look at. I agree. I'm going to give you the last two that we talk about. Physical resilience. So we talked about this, actually. We talked about the willingness to rest and recognizing how important it is that we do that consistent sleep, nutrition, movement, that those things are important. How we recover from illness, how we recover from injury. I think that makes a difference. I think listening to our body is important, but I also think that we have to make sure that we're not being a drama queen. If you've ever known anyone like that, where they are like a modern medical miracle, how can you have so many things wrong with you?
Right.
And I'm not talking about anyone in particular.
Wait, are you also saying though that I have to work out?
Well,
because I'm not gonna.
I do recommend it. I do. I don't, and those of you that see me, do I look like I work out all the time? I do, though. I am very committed to what I think of as critical tasks. And that to me means that I do pay attention to the steps. I do pay attention to my movement. It doesn't necessarily mean I have to go to the gym every day. I try, but really it's more about eating the foods that serve me, and it's about getting the movement in and what a difference that can make. So I do think I promise you, the fact that I would ever speak anything to that's a new thing that I would do that. So there you go. If you've known me for any length of time, you never would have thought those words would come out of my mouth, but here we are. But I do think it matters. Keeps us healthy.
Yeah.
Number 9, purpose and motivation resilience. So this is our last one. Think about how this plays a part in your life. Staying committed when motivation fades. Reconnecting to why during hard seasons. Showing up when results are slow. And then discipline beats motivation every single time.
Yes, it does.
It is not about doing it once. It's about consistency. It's discipline. That the people that are out there that are doing it, that are making it happen, and we look at them and say, you're amazing. I can't believe you do that. And it's so natural. No, it's discipline. It's because they do it every single day, right? It's committed. Motivation is crap. Motivation will get you one step, but it's what happens after that. I use it a lot in my, it's in my book, it's in my signature keynote. I talk about this quite a bit, and I call it the dojo. And the dojo is Japanese, and it's a training place. So in English, dojo means the place of the way. So that's where you learn. It's the training ground. So you enter the dojo where you are, but you get through the dojo to get where you want to be. But the courage gets us to go into the dojo, but it's the resilience that keeps us there, right? Because day one, anytime we try something the first day, it's easy, right? I am going to watch what I eat, right? You go into work and there's donuts. You're like, I don't even want one. I'm not even tempted. But day two, you're like, I could eat a donut. Right? It's like the day 2. It's how do we keep that fire? How do we keep that motivation and be resilient when somebody's going to bring those stupid donuts in every day?
Yeah.
And you can't just say no one day. You got to say no every day. And so that's the training ground. That's the dojo. It's our staying on track. If you really want to make the transition from where you are to where you want to be, resilience happens in the dojo. What are you doing in the dojo? And things are going to constantly be thrown at you. Are you picking up and going? Are you staying resilient? Are you following through even when it's hard? And that's the resilience.
I think that's so important to keep in mind because it's what you make into a habit. And you might not be able to rely on other people. You might not be able to depend on other people because we can't control other people, much as I would love to sometimes. But
someone told me that's a lesson you learn in your first marriage.
And I am remarried. So if you keep that in mind and are kind to yourself and love yourself and remember you can rely on you. You can be dependable for yourself because you've gotten through everything so far.
That's right.
Keep that in mind while you're thinking about your goal. And just push through. Breakthrough.
Right. Promises made, promises kept. And that is a breakthrough. That's a big breakthrough. And I think the big breakthroughs happen with little breakthroughs every day, right?
Yeah.
So what are a couple of tips, a couple of key things? Again, feel free to jump in. If you go to your show notes, you'll find the self-assessment. So you can check that out. You can actually text us directly. You can interact with us on social. We would love to hear from you. So jump in our DMs, jump in our social, talk to us, tell us what you're thinking, what successes you're having. We're happy to hear all of that. I guess my tip, kind of my thought that I would want to make sure I clarify is that understanding our minds are crazy things. Now, and I'm not a therapist. I was a bartender though. And I think it's the same thing, right? Very close. The difference is as a bartender, I still had to make a great martini and be a good listener, right? But one thing that I've seen time and time again is that our mind remembers the feeling. So when we failed, when we don't follow through, the feeling stays and tells us that's how it's always going to be. It becomes embedded in us, right? We have to remind ourselves that feeling, the confidence, the feeling of winning is what we want to focus on. And if we persevere, we're going to remember that feeling too. So pay attention to what you're holding on to and what you're training your brain to focus on.
One thing that I would add too is just keep failing. Just keep trying and keep failing. Over time, it's a numbers game. You'll win some. You're also desensitizing yourself to rejection. And look, all the best leaders, tech bros, CEOs, they will talk about how they failed several times before they finally got it right. That's just a part of life. And it's okay. Failure really is okay. It's a great tool to learn from.
That's right. It's not about the failure. It's about what you do with the failure. What do you do after that? And if you give up and you quit and you leave the dojo, then it didn't serve any purpose. But when you fail, when you get struck down, when bad things happen, when life happens, because it is hard. It's always hard. It's hard for everyone. If it were easy, everybody would do it. That's just the way it is. It's what you do with those failures. That's what you do with the setbacks. And that's the resilience. Is the whole purpose of this episode, is focusing on how can we build a better resilience even when things get difficult.
And you can get through difficult things. You already have. And anyone can keep pushing forward. The hard stuff is usually the stuff that is really worth it.
That's right. If it were something that wasn't of that much value, if it was something simple and not significant, it wouldn't matter anyway. So what you're working toward, what is your objective? What is your goal? What's your passion? What's your dream? What's your big idea? And what's stopping you from achieving it? It's time to break through.
Well, before you scurry off and do the rest of your day, please take a moment to let us know what you think, connect with us, send text messages to us, and make sure that you're following us on our socials and with our podcast.
Absolutely. Go out there, y'all, and break through.
This episode is brought to you by Julie Burch Speaks. If you want another boring keynote, keep scrolling. But if you want an experience, meet Julie. Julie isn't just a speaker. She's the moment your audience didn't know they needed. With down-home charm, a sharp sense of humor, and zero tolerance for fluff, she delivers real-world techniques that make people laugh, think, and actually do something different when they leave. Through relatable stories, bold truth-telling, and solid business strategies wrapped in brilliant comedic humor, Julie connects in a way that feels like a conversation, not a lecture. Your audience won't be just entertained. They'll be equipped, energized, and ready to level up. Solid business strategies, brilliant comedic humor. Find Julie online at julieburch.com or give her a call at 214-679-2717.
This episode is sponsored by Herron HR, the experts in full-service payroll and HR built for growing businesses. Herron HR offers a white glove experience and specifically works with small and mid-sized businesses. Their easy-to-use HRIS system comes with all the bells and whistles you'd expect from a payroll provider, including applicant tracking, time, and labor management, electronic onboarding, performance management, and more. That's not all. They also provide benefits, administration, and brokering, recruiting, training, and HR services from the administrative to the strategic. Herron HR is there to take on as much or as little of your HR function as you want and need. If you're ready for a solution that scales with you, if you need full service payroll or you just want a real HR partner, they've got you covered. Give them a call today at 1-800-607-7787 or find them online at herronhr.com.
All right, Powerhouse, before you sprint off to conquer your day, if this episode fired you up, made you laugh, or lovingly kicked you in the mindset, do us a favor. Hit that follow button and come hang with us on social. We're over there dropping truth bombs, behind-the-scenes nonsense, real-life breakthroughs, and the occasional, wait, did they really just say that moment? You can find us on social. Just search at Breakthrough WMJ and join the crew. You can even find Mallory at mallory.herron on Instagram or at Mallory Herron X on TikTok, and Julie at Julie Burch.
And seriously, thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up for yourself, for doing the work, and for choosing growth even when it's uncomfortable. That's not small stuff. That is breakthrough behavior. Now go do something bold. Take back your power. And remember, if you ever forget who you are, we'll remind you.